Hello, all you beautiful people, and welcome to Norm, the Cheers podcast that isn't. I am Mike. I am joined by Tookie and Dave, and I'm going to tell you right now, everyone, tonight's show is half price because I'm going to be very unprofessional this evening. I don't know what it is. So, a couple of things. I do know what it is. One is trying to quit diet soda. Started yesterday, and the withdrawal is harsh.
Oof. Yeah, that's no joke, especially at our
No
age.
joke.
No. Okay,
Seltzer, baby.
we love polar seltzer in this house, but like also, oh God. Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I was just living on it, which is the story of my life and why I can't ever do cocaine recreationally. Uh, I don't set limits well. So I'm thinking right now, I'm going cold turkey, and then I will be able to have Diet Pepsi again outside of the house, like on a drive or something, but not in the house. So that's the rule.
I, I,
So
I
I am going through withdrawal from that right now. And then I was getting my notes together. I typed them in my phone. I was getting ready to print them out, and the printer is not working. So I don't have any of my notes except right up here, which is completely unreliable.
No.
Yeah.
really, this could go anywhere tonight.
Anything could happen. I could start breaking down season 3, episode 13 of Bosom Buddies. There's every possibility this could go off the tracks.
R.I.P. Peter Scolari.
Yeah. Amen. Amen. All right, but let's just start getting into this bad boy because I am very happy with season 3, episode 13, Whodunit, a fun return to form after a lackluster episode 12. Frasier is back. Good to have him here. I remember this episode well. Bennett Ludlow, good to have you in our lives. I wish things had worked out. Let's start talking about this strong Rhea Perlman episode of Cheers. Dave, when Cheers bounced back in TV history, what was going on in the world?
There was a week off between our previous episode and this one. This is the first episode of 1985, or the first episode to air in 85.
Ooh.
It's January 3rd, 1985. What I would call a dark day in American history because it was the day that Kentucky Senator Mitch McConnell assumed office.
Oh my God, he's been there so long.
He has been in office since this day.
What the hell?
An election he won by just about 5,000 votes over the incumbent Walter Huddleston in Kentucky. He was the only Senate seat to flip Republican during the Reagan wave of 84. But he has certainly made his mark since. Yes.
Man.
January
Skid mark.
3rd. Yeah. a prolonged
If you
skid
wonder
mark.
about term limits,
Yeah.
McConnell has been there since before Shelley Long left Cheers. She was still 2 seasons away from leaving. Wow.
God help us.
The man he's taken us through so many iterations of Fred Dreyer. It's not even funny, to the point where Fred Dreyer has now become irrelevant, and Mitch McConnell still has an outsized effect on my life.
Oh, Lord. All right. Well, strong start to this week.
We can't shy away from these things, Mike. This is what we're up against.
It can't be toys every week. I get it, Dave. I'm not blaming you for Mitch McConnell. I get it.
I will say, if every single socialist, let me look at the results here. If the Socialist Workers' Party, which drew 7,700 votes in the Kentucky election, if those votes had gone to Walter Huddleston, we might be looking at a different America today.
What happened? What happened?
I don't want to blame the socialists.
Walter Huddleston, was he but it was 85. Was he a Democrat that was actually a Republican?
Ooh.
I don't know much about all Walt.
I can't. I'm. Look, he's an incumbent Democrat in Kentucky. I can't imagine that he's a model of progressivism. I don't see a whole lot of. I I don't see a whole lot of progressive bulwarks on his Wikipedia page.
It's funny, and I know people are here for Cheers, but I was having this conversation about conservative Democrats and liberal Republicans and how those were a thing as recently as the first Obama administration,
Hmm.
and how they're almost unimaginable today. And like the trade-off of, would you take those socially conservative Democrats back to have them be Democrats and voting on financial measures that would help people, or just like they're gonna keep screwing us up like they did before? Which is probably not fodder for a Cheers podcast, but that's the conversation I was having this week. Just about good old Billy Nelson from Nebraska and how do we feel about him. But let's move on. Tookie, there was a cold open this week.
There was
Can
a
you tell
cold
us
open.
about it?
Yeah, let me pull that up. So a little break, a subtle break from format with no Cheers was filmed before a live studio audience, just straight into the.
Mm,
I know, right?
yeah.
Straight into the shenanigans. So Coach is at the bar. We enter in on Coach, and he tells two patrons that he'll help them pass the time away while they're waiting on their reservation upstairs at Melville's, presumably. And he says, I'm going to show you a trick that never fails to leave people with their mouths wide open. I'm going to guess your age by asking you three simple questions, okay? And the guy's like, oh, yeah, sounds like fun. So the first question, what year were you born? And the guy's like, you got to be kidding me. And Coach is like, no, please bear with me. And the guy says, well, 1949, which, pause, side note, tangent. I'm not being ageist here. I just have never, unless it's like, there's a dark corner of the internet that neither of you need to be on,
Mhm.
where people rate figures of the past and everything. So like there's, Daddy Joe Biden, uh,
Mhm.
Daddy Joseph Stalin. Like it's a whole thing. So I never picture people born in 19.
Interesting.
I know it's don't go there, but I never picture people born within the 1940s as having dark hair unless it's like a vintage photograph of them, like maybe in the
Mhm.
1950s, right? So I was like,
Mhm.
oh wow, a person of that age bracket, like as a middle-aged person. So but I digress.
Yeah.
So the guy
Not
said,
even that late middle age. He was, 36.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just like, whoa. Okay. So he says 1949. Second question, how much do you weigh? And the guy says, about 185. It's like, okay. Third and last question, what do you do for work? Or what do you do for a living? And the guy says, I'm a carpet salesman. And Coach says, huh, okay. I should have an answer for you right after dinner. And the couple balks, and both of them, of course, mouths agape, just like Coach promised. And they're like, after dinner? And he's like, Coach is like, yeah, I didn't realize I had to carry a number. And he walks away, just 4, 5, 6, 7, roll credits.
Which, by the way, is my 80s moment of the week. Carrying
Ah,
the one.
oh. But I was still
Yeah.
doing that in elementary school.
Were you?
I think
I was
so.
trying to figure out, because I had a few candidates for 80s moment of the week, and I wasn't completely sure if Carry the One was still happening the next generation. Like, if you were in elementary school in the 90s, were you carrying the one? Because kids today do not carry the one.
What
And
the
that used to
No.
be a
is
go to
Common
joke.
Core? Common Core ruins lives. What is that mess? What is that? What is
I
that?
will say this. After the last 2 years and having to help an 7 then 8-year-old with his homework, it was mildly frustrating to like not know the math that he was doing the way that he was doing it. That being said, I think it's probably a better way to do it,
Really?
because if only because they're actually like understanding math as a concept in a way where, like, I used to have this math teacher who used to say, you don't learn it, you memorize it. And that
Oh,
was very much like, you memorize the algorithms, this is how you find this is how you solve. And it started before. It's like, you just remember all the algorithms and this is how you get there. And there wasn't any kind of general understanding of, all right, this is what math is. This is why this matters. This is how you get there. The how is in there now, and it wasn't really there in that same
Huh.
way before.
Okay.
Yeah, my daughter's then fourth grade teacher. Immediately pre-pandemic, we had like a check-in and everything was great. And I said, "Can you please just show me what you're doing because I don't understand it?" And every so often she asked for help, and she showed me, and it took her about 7 minutes. And it was breathtaking. I was like, I get it. And then I went home and immediately forgot everything.
Oh no.
And I was like, nope, you got to carry the one. Like that's it.
Yeah.
I'm just doomed to that for the rest of my life.
Yeah, we're going to carry the one into the grave.
Yeah, that's the one I'm carrying.
Yep.
Death to Horace.
Yep.
I mean, he's already dead, but death to Horace. Oh, maybe I shouldn't make threats. Horace Mann is on notice from the grave.
Take that, Horace Mann. You're no longer a sponsor. All right.
Done.
Let's get into this week. It is basically just the A story with some jokes from other people at different times. And it's a fun A story. So basically, Bennett Ludlow, who is Frasier's psychiatric mentor, is here's a question I had. Is he visiting from out of town, or does he live there, and is it just a dinner that they're having? Because it seems like it's this big deal that he's available, and then they're going to be spending time with him. But then it's like, oh, I have a trip to make, and when I come back, which is what you say when you're coming back to the place that you live, and if he's marrying her, wouldn't it be in Boston, and wouldn't they somehow be referencing the fact that now you're going to have to move to New York where I live? So does he live there, and if so, why is it this big a deal?
He can't live there because he doesn't know how the seasons work. He's not unfamiliar with the fact that it gets cold in the winter.
It's weird,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Thank you. Great point.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, he's got to live like Florida, the South, California, and there's never any kind of reference to the idea that, oh boy, if Carla marries him, they're going to have to move. She's going to be moving far away to somewhere warm, or he's going to have to move to Boston.
I will say the way he was immediately attracted to Carla, that's big Florida energy. That's a whole lot. That's a whole lot of Floridian energy.
Strong point.
Very, very good point. That is.
Here is where I got to that I got comfortable with, which is that he had been teaching out in like UCLA, Berkeley, somewhere warm, and then was coming back to become a guest lecturer at Harvard, something like that. And so he was living there. He just moved back and was not used to the cold weather, but now he's going to be living in Boston, and that's why he was going to be able to marry Carla and be available.
Yeah, it is difficult to imagine what institution of higher learning Bennett Ludlow ends up in Florida.
Yeah, that's kind of the rub. I don't feel like one of the eminent psychiatric minds of his time is at FSU.
Yeah, maybe made it Emory.
The only one I could think of is maybe University of Miami.
That's in Ohio.
There's one. There's Miami
Oh.
University in Ohio, University of Miami in Florida.
Okay.
Yeah, the Red Hawks and the Hurricanes.
Okay.
So University of Miami is a good school. Maybe that would make sense. Anyway, getting too hung up on this. There is a fun beginning where Frasier is basically incredibly obsequious towards Bennett Ludlow in a very funny way. They're going to get brandy. They are vexed by the fact that there is a piece of beef Wellington left on Bennett Ludlow's tie. They don't know how to approach him about this. By the way, in this shot, you could totally see that curtain again.
Oh, I missed it.
Oh.
I was so
Totally see the
fixated
curtain.
on the actual crumb, which I was so grateful that they had actually like adhered a crumb to his tie.
Yeah, it was there. Respect.
Yeah, like
they put
nice,
that there.
nicely done, props people. Apparently, which drew me away from the fact that you could see the curtain.
They're ordering brandies, which I don't drink, but I wish I drank brandy. Brandy seems like something awesome to order after dinner. I really, really wish I could just sit in a nice den with a big glass ashtray and have some brandy. They decided they're going to go back and tell him, but Carla has already told him that there's something there. Yuck. And immediately the flirtation begins. They come back, start to tell him, realize it's gone. They are relieved. He leaves to supposedly go to the bathroom, actually starts hitting on Carla, asks if he should look her up in the phone book under Hot Mama. Hot Mama or Hot Babe?
Hot babe.
Hot Babe, thank you.
Which-
This is what happens
which is-
when I don't have my notes.
That's my 80s moment of the week is the use of the phrase hot babe.
The Florida leaped out.
Yeah. Goes, looks up the phone number. Yeah, basically this then segues into Bennett Ludlow starts ditching Frasier and Diane. Carla's got a new boyfriend who's sending her flowers all the time. Sam figures it out. Diane and Frasier scoff at him for doing that. Then Bennett Ludlow comes in. They are hugging. Frasier and Diane are horrified. And by the way, my joke of the week, Frasier's scream, Kelsey Grammer's scream, when he sees, it's not a joke, but it made me laugh harder than anything. When he turns around, after Diane lets out the piercing scream and does an even more piercing scream, which absolutely floored me both times that it happened. I loved it. They are now an item. It seems like everything is going well. Carla goes off. He announces, Bennett Ludlow then announces that he is going to be going out of town for a bit. When he returns, he's going to ask Carla to marry him, which is also very 80s. We've been dating for a few weeks. Time to get married. Cut to the next scene. He is back from being out of town. Bennett is waiting. Carla is late. No one knows where Carla is. Carla finally comes in. She's very, very troubled. Comes in. Bennett Ludlow proposes in front of everyone. She says, I guess I'd be crazy to say no. Bennett takes that as a yes. Buys champagne for everybody. Carla goes into the back, reveals to Diane that she has not told him about her children and that she is pregnant with Bennett Ludlow's child, which will be her 6th child. Ludlow comes back, realizes that she never said yes, finds out that she has 5 kids, still wants to marry her, and she says no because she's waiting for a guy in a burgundy leather jacket. It was a well-acted scene. This time, though, when it was happening, I was really sort of more flustered than I remembered being when she's describing this guy that she's waiting on so specifically. And I'm like, you're going to fall in love with Eddie Lebec, and he's not quite that, but I guess close enough. And Ludlow says she's his dream girl. He's going to support the child financially. He goes off crestfallen. She comes out, announces that she doesn't want any sob stories. Everyone says, okay. She turns and says, what are you made of stone? And needs their sympathy. Fiend. It was fun. It was a very early Cheers episode to me. There were good laughs. It was well structured, well paced, and there were pathos in it, which it doesn't happen after season 5. So I was happy that was there. What were your thoughts, everybody?
Who wrote this episode?
Ken Eston and Sam Simon, I believe.
Ah, okay. Because I'm holding Heidi Perlman in a different category. Like her episodes in my book are now like akin to a Spike Lee joint. It's a Heidi Perlman joint. So, because I'm like, wow, Carla with things to do, but more or less things to do involving a man. So a dude wrote that.
Yeah.
This was actually a script which I think is the first one. This is Tom Reeder, Reeder, who will go on to work on the. He's going to go on to work on the Cosby Show. Later on. But yes, absolutely a dude. Absolutely a dude wrote this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it was an episode that had to happen because Carla was pregnant, Diane was pregnant. They couldn't hide them both behind the bar, so Carla needed to be pregnant. So they came up with, I think, a very interesting way to do it. I thought it was a good episode. You didn't want to have Nick back again. So I thought it was really fun, and it gave Carla a nice moment. It gave Heidi Perlman, or Rhea Perlman, a nice moment to sort of be the star of this episode. And she took it, and she handled it really well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was nice after last week, too, to see the guest star actually get to do something. I still want justice for Carol Kane after last week. Who was so wildly underutilized. But it was nice to see Tom Caron, who played Bennett Ludlow, was actually kind of given some acting to do and some story to handle, and like he and Rhea Perlman, I thought had a great chemistry, like a shockingly good chemistry together.
To the point where I was really sad it didn't work out both
Me
times I rewatched it.
too.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it was there's like a nice little bit of storytelling in the second act of the episode when where he's waiting for Carla at the bar and he says, "Where is she, Sam?" And all of a sudden you get the sense that like he's been accepted by everybody in the bar and he's like one of the sort of like regulars now. And I was like, oh, this is such a, it like there was an actual sense of loss when he left. Like everybody kind of lost this guy that they were hanging out with, and like he had found this new side of himself, and he nailed it. It was a nice, like, I thought the writing and directing did a good job of letting everybody kind of do something clear and full and that told me something about who these characters were.
Yeah. Yeah. And you could tell that everyone wanted Carla to be with him. Just this idea of she's going to have some security. He's this great guy after being with an awful guy. This is going to be really great for her. And part of their acceptance of Bennett Ludlow was how much they love Carla. It's like they wanted this for Carla, and Carla just didn't want that for herself. And it was a tough moment to watch.
Yeah, I was glad they didn't decide to like do it, pull a reversal with the Ludlow character and make him less honorable or less pleasant. It was a more interesting episode for it to be a tough choice than like for all of us than for all of us to be rooting for her to leave him. It was interesting and harken back to some like nice moments, some nice Cheers moments.
And we've seen her do that, and she's going to do that again. This gave her a chance to flex some other muscles, and it was really good to see her do that.
I just why would she shoot herself in the foot like this? This was a grand opportunity for Carla to secure the bag, as they say. God. Just fumbled the bag.
Well, and it's when you see someone who kind of repeatedly is unlucky at love, you kind of stop and wonder if maybe their concept of love is perhaps a bit flawed. I don't know if I'm getting too deep here, but when you have someone who's got this specific idea of, all right, that's what I'm waiting for, doesn't it kind of always lead you to dissatisfaction with wherever you are and the person that you are with when you've got that image in your head? Because no one's going to be that specifically. And you end up missing out, which Carla does kind of over and over again. She chooses the wrong guy.
Yeah, it's a nice one thing that this show really does well is show character through repetitive behavior. Not repetitive, but consistent behavior. And obviously nobody's thinking that this thing's going to run for 11 years right now, but it is one of the joys, I guess, of the series is to watch these characters kind of make the same mistakes over and over again, because honestly that's probably closer to what life is. And maybe that's one of the things we love about the show is that because they don't learn, because they don't necessarily evolve in like sort of grand ways, it feels more like our lives. It feels more like who we are. We have small moments of advancement, but generally we kind of do the same stupid stuff over and over again.
Yeah, it's true. And Cheers is a case study of people doing the same stupid stuff over and over and over again. It's being comfortable in their rut.
Oh, it's a study on psychosis.
Oof.
Oh.
Yeah. All right, let's run through some categories because I keep getting tempted to spoil categories and steal potential from you. So I've done my joke of the week. Tookie, what's your joke of the week this week?
Joke of the week. The callback to None of Your Damn Business. When and the second time around, when Sam asked, Coach, how, or where is she? How is she? And Coach says, "None of your damn business. How's your knuckleball?"
How's your knuckleball was a great tag.
Oh my gosh! And
How's
he's like
knuckleball.
He's polishing the glasses with his nose in the air like he's all hurt.
Yes,
so funny.
Beautiful.
I'm loving the way they structure the callbacks for Coach.
Yep, Coach is the king of the callback.
Yeah, it's always like a good 4.5 minutes later.
Yeah, it's a long fuse and it pays off. Dave, what was your joke of the week?
Uh, we already talked about what are you made of? What are you people made of stone? Which was a great button to end on.
Yeah.
Um, I'll go. I really like Diane this week. She didn't have a truckload to do, but that little scene between her and Carla was great. I loved the fact that the camera that they directed they directed the camera in such a way that you saw that it was Diane who perceived Carla was uncomfortable after the proposal, and it was her impetus to kind of follow her out to the pool room. And then when she was there, they're talking about revealing to Bennett that she's got these children, and she says Carla it informs her that it's 6 kids, and Diane says, "I thought it was 5," and then Carla says, "It was. I just came back from the doctor," and Shelley Long makes a noise. Like she doubles over and goes, "Oh!" And it's such a wonderful human, like full, funny, but like also kind of real moment of realization. I really enjoy. I rewound it a couple times because it's a lower register than we often get from Shelley Long, and it packs a wallop.
Yeah. Nice. All right. Your 80s moments of the week.
I stand by Hot Babe. Hot Babe
Hot babe.
is a complete 80s thing for me. Like I remember like joking about the word babe and hot babe in elementary school. Like that would be like the go-to thing to like to like get a laugh or whatever, but like I would never, starting in 1990, I would never say it again.
I have
Fair.
3, so Mike, go ahead.
I already went.
Oh, you did. You did. That's right.
Yep.
Okay. Taking hygiene in school, as they call like what?
We called it health.
Right.
By the 80s, we were calling it health. So I think hygiene was from their childhood. I'm not
Yeah.
sure if that's 80s, but yeah.
Yeah, but just the idea of taking hygiene and so I'm like, whoa. Bringing up the Brady Bunch in earnest
Mm.
feels very 80s.
As a reference point, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And going to the doctor to find out if you're pregnant. Like that.
Yeah.
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 That is not today. Very true. hmm Also, one last thought too. Bennett Ludlow's knit tie. In the second scene or the third scene, the final scene, he's got that 80s knit tie that I thought was real stylish when I was a kid, and that is not a style that endured.
It's too bad. I like a knit tie. I don't own a knit tie now. I want a knit tie.
Good luck finding one.
Thankfully,
You
the
gotta
holidays
go
are
to
coming.
a vintage clothing store.
Wait, no. We're all supposed to pitch in for the GoFundMe for the steak knives.
Yeah, it's
That's
steak
all
knives
my-
this Christmas.
You're right. I can't. I'm going to use the steak knives more than I'm going to use the knit tie.
Thank you.
But
Rationality.
that feels like if you let Mel know, that's a fun stocking stuffer.
Steak knives?
No,
Oh.
the tie.
Oh, okay.
I'll direct her to this episode for
Okay.
all my gift getting needs.
Perfect. And we'll talk about that car you want. Tookie, how white was this week's episode?
Not that white, especially for Boston. Okay, so in the opening scene, the cold open, we have a couple sitting at the bar behind Coach. The first scene, there's a black woman on the phone, a black man by the jukebox, a black woman by the coat rack where Frasier is, a black man with a cigarette at the top of the bar, a black man way back in the corner of the booths, like way, way back, and a black man by the piano. And then in scene 2, which carries over into scene 3, so I don't double count those folks, but we have 2 black men by the piano, 2 black women who entered behind Frasier and Diane, a black woman in a booth with some friends, a black man by a booth, and a black man on a phone. So I didn't spot any Asian people or Latino people, but like a good amount of raisins in the oatmeal, as we say. The total for this week, 15. That's a lot
All
of
right.
people. It's a lot of
Always
people.
good to be in the teens.
Yeah.
Did you clock the woman who was kind of over Carla's shoulder in the after she came back from the back
At
room.
the end, yeah,
Yeah.
she was part of the two black women who entered at one point in the scene. So I didn't double count them for that
Gotcha.
third scene. Yeah.
I was getting serious Apollonia vibes from her.
It was the whole look and the
Yeah. I was like, now it made me want to watch Purple Rain all over again.
Then it's an absolute good. All right, Sam Creepy quotient this week. Very low.
like a
No?
2.
Yeah.
I grade him on a curve. You know he's never not going to creep.
Right.
But this week,
Very low.
2.
Yep.
He was just out there being a good boss.
Yeah.
And a sort of and a perceptive human.
We love to see it.
And a supportive friend.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
first
getting-
one to go to Carla.
Absolutely. I was getting serious Harrison Ford vocal vibes from Ted Danson this week too. Like you could close your eyes and kind of like hear like the Han Solo-ness of him, and I was like, I'm not gonna kick that out of bed for eating crackers.
Couple of interesting points. One, in the cold open, the gentleman who is being asked his birth, he will be coming back in a few episodes. I think it's this season. It might be the next season. But when when Norm's neighbor suspects that Vera and her husband are having an affair, they hire a private detective who is a relation to Carla, and it's that guy.
Wow. That's fun because that guy found a very unique way of saying sounds like fun.
Yeah.
He said it in a way that I don't think any human has ever said it. And I don't know if that augurs good or ill, but I'm fascinated to see him take another crack at dialogue.
I jotted down his name just because he was one of those guys who's definitely that guy. He pops up a lot in a lot of stuff. He was he was on the subway. He was the naked guy who talks to Jerry on the way to Coney Island.
Eh? Huh.
Oh yeah, yeah. He popped up in a ton of shows.
Yeah,
He got lots of co-star parts.
Okay.
he's got a great like urban guy look.
He gives me a little bit of like if Tony Soprano had you know what I mean? Like I imagine Tony Soprano as having 3 Y chromosomes for some reason. And for me, this guy, he's sort of like the Grimace to Thanos, you know?
I think I see it.
Yeah. Sure.
I think I see it.
Like if Tony Soprano is Thanos, then this guy is Grimace, you know?
Right. Gotcha.
That's wow. This is it's criminal that we don't have some sort of way to animate that visual right this second.
We need
The
to go high
terrible
tech.
image I put in our viewers' minds.
No, it's okay. That's why we need some of that MailChimp money.
Oh, seriously, get at us, Bombas.
MeUndies,
Speaking
where
of
are you?
sponsors, yeah. The when they're going to comfort Carla, there was a guy who was giving off such My Pillow Mike Lindell vibes. Did anyone else catch him?
No. Oh
I didn't
God.
catch that.
Big stash. Yeah, like just smiling awkwardly. Yeah.
Ooh.
Kind of crazy eyes.
Well, it was the 80s and crack was a problem, so
Yep.
all
was
disrespect to
there.
the entire Lindell family.
Every Lindell can suck an egg.
Every one of them.
And the pillow's terrible. I know we've talked about it, but it's a terrible pillow.
Is it not a good? I've never I have no interest in ever trying a My Pillow, but
It's a big
is it
square
bad?
pillow.
That's it.
Big square.
That's it.
I don't know anyone who likes My Pillow. I like Trump supporters buy it just to support them, and then they sleep on actual pillows.
I've never
Judge
encountered
Janine
a.
might sleep on it. I don't know. But it's kind of like all the vaccine deniers who also get vaccines. And they're like, oh, Mike Lindell, yay, My Pillow. And they've got My Pillows just like over in the corner holding up piping.
Ugh.
Yep. But that guy was there. But yeah, I thought just a really strong comeback week. I thought it was very nice to see what Kelsey Grammer could do. in an episode, and I know he's going to have back-to-back episodes, this 13 and 14, and yeah, he's kind of the star of next week's episode.
Right.
Ooh.
Yep. And they really seemed to commit to what he could do as a character, because I think they were really excited that he could have that funny laugh line, but he could also like support the rest of the scene. He could drive the narrative. He did a lot of what you'd see him doing later on. It was good to have Frasier there.
He's really really talented. He like there he his performance like points at a hole that I didn't realize was in that series. You know, for a character that's broad but also upper class. You know, that can play that plays differently than Norm and Cliff. You know, and there's room. Shelley Long has established a room for a sort of like size of performance, a size of comic performance, and he like occupies the airspace that she kind of clears. You know, Norm and Cliff kind of come under everything. He is constantly kind of like he comes over and plays to that back row the way that she does, and it slots in perfectly.
Yeah, it was good to have Frasier. Good to have Frasier, and you could see Shelley Long starting to get annoyed with having to share so much time with Kelsey Grammer. You could
Oh.
start to get that vibe. She's like, "When are we writing out the Frasier character?"
Oh.
Oh, he loves telling that story about how she
Uh,
kept saying, "All right, we need to get rid of the Frasier character."
Oh. That's such a sad. I don't know why I'm sad by that. Why am I
I mean, it
sad?
is kind of sad. Like, I get where she was coming from,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's like, stop trying to get this guy fired. He's good. He's good. He's fun. And clearly you were wrong. Clearly that character works, even if you guys are not a couple.
Hmm.
it's it's a shame that that this series wasn't made in 2018 or 2019, where you could have given Frasier's part to a woman, and it would be so much. You know, it would go such a long way towards like giving a little bit of equity within the acting company. You know, and would also like I think open up an interesting part of Diane. I don't know. I guess that's my pitch to Peacock executives is for
That's very much what BB Newirth became, don't you think?
A little bit.
yeah I could yeah in part yeah.
Feminist icon Lilith Stern and I'm all about Lilith.
There's nothing
I
that's
mean,
not
to
great.
me, that's the Peacock series I keep waiting for.
Lilith,
When is Lilith getting a show? Yeah.
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 You know,
Yeah.
this is a good time. Like BB, like she left at the right time. She dominated Broadway. She did all this great stuff. Now there's this nice moment where I remember a friend used to talk about how all the Broadway stars all deserve to get sitcoms in their 60s. Like that's basically what happened with All in the Family. Like so many of those shows from the 70s, B. Arthur, Maude. It's like, okay, you probably can't handle the 8 show a week grind anymore. Here's your sitcom.
Mm. Yeah. But you know, BB Newirth was a supporting character in The Flight Attendant on HBO Max.
I did not see The Flight Attendant. Worth watching?
A little gory, but worth it.
Mm.
But
All right.
worth it. I know. A little gory,
You know,
not
with
Squid
when
Game
it came
gory.
out, yeah, when it came out, I didn't feel like being locked in a plane because I was already locked in my house.
Yeah, fair, but it doesn't all take place in a plane.
Yeah.
Mild spoiler.
Okay.
Yeah, but Lilith
All right.
isn't.
I'm ready. I'm ready. So should I watch Flight Attendant or Squid Game next?
Oh, Flight Attendant. Squid Game will F you up.
Yeah, I don't need to be effed up.
I mean, I keep waiting for the narrative bounce back to the to lockdown with the like this some sort of like British Bake Off combined with My Little Pony series, which is something that's like literally soft, that is just soft music and pictures of icing and cherubim like kind of dancing. but they haven't given us that yet. The
No.
powers that be haven't seen fit to bestow that on us.
No,
Not yet.
we are barely halfway through episode 6, and um, I'm send me thoughts and prayers, please.
Always.
Thank you,
I keep you here.
thank you, thank you.
There's that weird feeling. Like I'm looking forward to you entering your 40s, Tookie, because there's an interesting thing that happens in your 40s. Dave,
Okay.
tell me if this has happened to you, where you no longer feel quite so obligated to finish a series because you started it. And you're more
Ooh.
comfortable with walking out of a movie where you're just like,
Ooh.
look, how many hours do I have left? You don't get the next hour. I gave you the first one. You didn't grab me. I'm done. I'm leaving.
Yeah, there is a.
I
Yeah,
used to never walk out of a movie. Now in my 40s, I'm like, all right, death is around the corner. I'm going home.
Mike, I've gone one further. I'm not going to go to the movie. If you don't bring the movie to me where I can appraise it for 15 minutes, if I'm and I go to my phone, I guess I'm done with you. I guess I don't need you in my life.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. There's I have the 5 friends I need. I have the 3 sweaters I need. I have the 2 shows I need. Let Oblivion claim me.
What more is there?
I watched Dune over the weekend.
What'd you think?
That was a choice.
It was. It's
That
funny.
was-
I liked it, but there's this. I hate this feeling of like, hey, here's the first half of a story.
Yeah. And that, I
You
think,
guys
had
have not earned Marvel Infinity War credit.
mm-mm.
You don't launch with half a movie.
No disrespect to Timothée Chalamet and his pointy chin, but this, I think I would have walked out on if I saw it in theaters rather than on HBO Max. So
I would, yeah.
yeah.
I feel that. Yeah, unless the popcorn was delicious, I could see myself drifting. But being on my couch and stopping to go to the bathroom, and then
Yeah.
every so often they throw me a Momoa, great. I was delighted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same. I have a question. Were you able to understand all the dialogue clearly? Because I am fearing that I'm also entering a part of my life where I just have the captions on.
Hell no. None of that made sense.
Thank you.
None of that.
Where I was
What?
just like, look, I know some of these are words that I'm not supposed to know yet, but some of these are just words, and I don't understand them. I can't hear you.
No, I almost called the ACLU twice on that movie. Some of that dialogue, I'm like, am I being called a slur? Like what? Like I'm not even being spoken to in this film, and I feel attacked. So no, it's not just you.
Yeah, the Fremen vibe was a little
A
awkward.
lot.
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did find myself watching, going, is this okay? Is this all right? No one stopped it. I guess we're cool. We'll just keep going.
Nah.
It's not racist if it's just 7 minutes of Zendaya looking over her shoulder.
I guess Zendaya is the Dune manic pixie dream eye glowing girl.
The Amelie of Dune.
Oh no.
Dumelie?
Oh God.
10 years ago, it would have been Zoe Deschanel.
Now, the It Dune girl.
Oof. That is a collection of words.
All right. Any final thoughts before we put Whodunit to bed?
We didn't. Well, yeah. Did we run through all the? I think we did run through all the categories. Yeah.
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 I think it was a great way to deal with a real life circumstance of a pregnancy. Like there was a lot of goofy ways to deal with it, and there's what they're going to do with Diane, which is not deal with it. I thought this was a really cool way. Like I felt like I knew everybody in the bar a little bit better from this episode. And that's I think a mark of a really well crafted show, that they can take an unforeseen physical circumstance and use it as part of storytelling.
Yes. One last shout out to a joke that was in contention for my joke of the week. where when they were talking about the relationship, Norm says, "Well, I think this calls for a round of drinks. Who's buying? Or I think this calls for somebody to buy a round of drinks." And then it goes, "Well, I'll do that." He's like, "Oh, you beat me to it. I got the next one." I really enjoyed that. I laughed.
Freaking Norm.
Just wanted to give a little shout out to Norm, who did not get a ton of attention this episode.
Perfectly good Norm episode, like a perfectly like didn't do a whole lot, but also didn't say anything where I was like,
Yeah, step in the right direction. All right,
Yeah.
any shows to plug this week? I know we got Thanksgiving, so I'm not sure how busy people are.
Oh, I'm at Night Shift Brewing in Everett tomorrow.
Oh,
That'll be fun.
that'll be a time.
That'll be fun.
Catch that.
That's
It's always
cool.
fun to get. It's always fun to catch comedy shows the day before Thanksgiving because lots of people are back in town, and suddenly it's like, oh, cool, Eddie Murphy's dropping in to do a set. So if you're ever just popping in, like the night before Thanksgiving is a good night to pop in somewhere for comedy because people will be showing up. Yeah, I got nothing to plug. Dave,
I'll be if anybody's in Providence next month. The Empire Review is returning to live performance at
Yay.
AS220 with a small audience of I think 50 people. We're also going to be streaming it live, so if you're interested and you don't want to leave your house like me, that will be available to you. But if you want to join us for our holiday show on the 18th, tickets are available. If you search for the Empire Review, you actually probably going through social media is probably the best way to do it. So just search for Empire Review and you'll find it.
Perfect. All right, huzzah. For Dave, for Chucky, I'm Mike. This has been Season 3, Episode 13. Norm, the Cheers podcast that isn't, will be back next week with The Heart is a Lonely Snipe Hunter. I'm excited. Please live up to my memory. Have a great week. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Bye.
Happy Thanksgiving.